before, and we're succeeding with it. I mean, last year when with Terry and Matthews and all that, we had to go ahead and rush almost 9 men just to try and throw a quarterback off on a blitz. And man, I cannot wait to see when the offense clicks and have this team rolling together.
Yeah, I thought the offense was going to absolutely explode today after their third touchdown, and then they're on their.
It was a teaser.
They're on their fourth drive, and that's when Geronimo Allison fumbled. And I said it at the time. I said that is such a huge turnover. It gave life back to the Vikings. It was such a momentum killer. And I feel like if they would have kept doing what I felt like they were going to do on that drive and punch another touchdown in, that thing was that place was going to explode. And there was no way that the Vikings would be even coming close to coming back at that point. But it kept the door open. They credit the Vikings on creating the play, the turnover, and then doing something with it, following that. So, but the turnover battle, considering that we had 2 turnovers and still won the game, we're pretty lucky because our defense was creating them also. Because typically, if we have 2 turnovers on offense, we usually lose those types of games.
Well, you know what? There's also another couple people I got to mention out here. For the special teams, J.K. Scott flipped the field the whole game. I mean, he literally had the team starting their 40 or before almost every time he kicked the ball. Trevor Davis made one mistake in calling a fair catch and then blocking. But other than that, I mean, he caught everything came to him. It's 2 phases that are fully kind of in effect right now, are special teams and the defense. And once the offense goes, Ryan, it just goes uphill from there.
Yeah, J.K. Scott, it wasn't as good of a performance as last week, but it was still solid. Looks like he had 8 punts. He averaged 47.6 yards a punt, so that's good. Long of 59. I don't know what his hang time was, but it seemed like it was pretty solid. There was
Beebe back there.
Yeah, there was one decent return, I think, but I can't remember if it got called back on penalty or not.
It did. It was a holding penalty or block in the back, I think, on the receiving team for Vikings. So it negated the run back.
So keeping that consistency, that's going to be the key for J.K. Scott, is just being consistent, being able to do that game in and game out, and not just being a one-game wonder, which he wasn't. He brought it again today. So wasn't, like I said, it wasn't as impressive as last week's because he only had really 1 down inside the 20, but I think a lot of that too was just because of where he was punting from most of the game. So definitely kudos to him for sure.
Well, you know what? With now 2-0, we stay at home for another week, going to Denver next week. There's a good possibility we can go 3-0, Ryan. I think that Denver is very beatable after watching the Oakland game because, I mean, the secondary isn't what it used to be from a couple of years ago. I know Vic Fangio is known as like the Rodgers whisperer, but he's got to have some talent on the back end like he did in Chicago, and he doesn't have that in Denver. He has Chris Harris, and I think that's it.
Yeah, we're definitely going from one of the best defenses in the Bears to a pretty dang good defense in the Vikings to a much lesser defense, still good in the Broncos. But
yeah, pass rush is still there, but secondary is not.
Yeah, and Fangio is going to have some tricks up his sleeve. He knows how to play Aaron Rodgers, but it is a different offense, though, obviously now. So he'll have some more stuff on film in terms of how Matt LaFleur wants to run things. And I'm sure Fangio will devise a scheme that'll be pretty good. But you're right; they don't have the talent that he had in Chicago. You know, and the Broncos don't have the talent that they did when they won their Super Bowl either. You know, that thing's been kind of picked apart a little bit. I mean, they still have some talent, obviously, with Von Miller and Bradley Chubb, but it's not like if we weren't scared against the Bears or the Vikings, we shouldn't be scared against the Broncos by any means, you know, as far as their defense. So I'm watching that game right now, actually.
I am too.
Bears and Broncos is in the background, so
I am watching it too. And FYI, our matchup, because you and I are in fantasy matchup right now, you're only ahead of me by 14.7 points, and yeah. So I'm gaining on you quickly, brother.
I need to check my scores. I haven't checked them.
Yeah, me too. I have to check mine right now. I'm facing Dylan.
I was so caught up in that game, guys. My voice is definitely hurt.
I was yelling at the TV.
FYI, I was texting Dylan like 10 minutes before game time started, before 1 o'clock, with a bunch of like decisions that I couldn't make final decisions on, and I took all of it advice, and every one of them is paid off for me. Just to be clear, for those people that might doubt Dylan's advice.
There you go. Shout out to Dylan.
Dylan,
he gave me a little wow when I told him Seattle was going to win in Pittsburgh and all the other, like the Bills beating the Giants. Yeah, man. There was some Pittsburgh just doesn't look the same, guys. I know I'm kind of getting away from the Green Bay game, but I'm just saying Pittsburgh does not look like the same team that we saw from the past couple of years.
Well, they lost Roethlisberger today, so that doesn't help.
Yep, I saw that. And then with Brown and Bell being gone, there's no other weapon.
Well, that's the thing. It's the same thing, bringing it back to Green Bay, what we were talking about. Basically, to me, Juju Smith-Schuster and Davante Adams are very similar type of players. And now they're both number one. The difference is Davante, he's better off the line of scrimmage than Juju is right now in his career. Juju's still young, so he's got some development still. Yeah, Davante can get open against anybody. It does not matter who it is. So you can put your best cover guy on Davante as wide receiver one, and Davante's still going to get open. He's going to get his, as evidenced today, right? He had over 100 yards and a bunch of catches. Even though he didn't score a touchdown, unfortunately, I have Davante in all my leagues, but he still put up decent points. So, that's the difference, though, between, him and Juju. But the thing is, both teams have the same issue, is I don't think either of those teams have a legit, competent number two wide receiver yet. And that's what's going to haunt both of those offenses. And so, that's, again, where I think the Packers need to either hope that one of those young wide receivers really steps up here. Well, they're going to have to if it's going to be for this year. But otherwise, moving on to the future, there's going to have to be some high draft capital, I think, invested in this next year's college crop of wide receivers are probably going to be pretty good, pretty legit coming into the NFL in the draft.
Well,
so
since you
there's
mentioned
some that look good.
Just for projections going forward, as a little teaser, I did get into a conversation with a gentleman on Twitter a day or two ago, and I just want to tease this out. If you look at the pattern, and you guys, getting off a little subject, but just as I think this is a cool conversation quickly. If you guys look at the way Gutekunst has been doing things through not only free agency, but how he's drafted, what are the two positions that there's very good high draft prospects coming out this year compared to other years' drafts, and what have they not drafted high in the last couple of years? That's where I think they're definitely going in rounds 1 and 2, and possibly a double dip in rounds 1 if they think that they can't get that guy in round 2 that they really like too. So I think wide receiver and running back are going to be the first and second round picks, or a double first round pick again this year, because those running backs and receivers, there's a lot of them coming out this year that are very talented. And it's just would be in line with how he's stacking this team up through free agency and the draft, and where he's been and what positions are left that he really needs to make aggressive moves towards. Those two immediately come to mind. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, and I think offensive line might be another position as well that they'll be considering in the next draft. Just getting ready to replace some maybe like an aging, although he's playing well right now. But I mean, it's inevitable at some point. Brian Bulaga is going to be done. So
don't you say that about BB?
No, I've never been in the camp that the crazy Packer Twitter people that said, cut Brian Bulaga.
I don't get it.
I don't get that either. Like when he's on the field, give me what he can bring all day long versus some other guy out there. So, but yeah, those are going to be positions that I think that they're definitely going to look at. I'm not trying to get into draft talk. Obviously, we just won a big game, but it is something that I truly believe that good front offices, and I consider the Packers to have a good front office. I think Brian Gutekunst knows what he's doing. I think that they do look ahead. In fact, I know for a fact teams look ahead, and they know kind of what the talent is coming out of college in different years and different draft classes, and they're going to draft accordingly, the previous year. If they know next year is going to be really good on wide receiver, yeah, they're probably not going to draft a wide receiver high in this year's draft, knowing that they just drafted 3 of them the previous year that they have high hopes on, and knowing that they're going to be some higher end talent coming in the next one. So then you do it, you draft players that are, of the other positions of need, quote unquote, that are also high in terms of talent level in that particular draft. And that's really where they've lined that up, I think, quite nicely. So
I've got 2 that kind of jump out at me, and I know we traded for B.J. Goodson, but I understand Raven Green's there. Yeah, he got hurt today. I hope he's feeling better. I haven't got an update on him yet. But if we could nail like a rangy inside linebacker, like a weak side linebacker to put next to Martinez that can have the coverage ability and still like thump, I'd love that. Especially because of the fact, it would kind of solidify that defense. I think it's just like the one last piece where, I know we want to run a 3-3-5, but for these running offenses like with Cook we faced today, it just would really help to have that extra thumper in there. Also, too, Mercedes Lewis and Jimmy Graham are getting...
real quick, because you said that...
Hold on.
Were you not disappointed in the fact that I think they had a problem today because they went with that big defensive front again, and another guy that we talked about was perfect to fit in was inactive for the second week in a row. I think if Kingsley Keke was active today, you wouldn't have had as big of a problem playing on that zone stretch, which is what they had problems with late in the game. Those big guys were just not quick enough on those stretch plays, and they just got outrun essentially until the hole was there. I thought it was a fail on their part of not looking at their personnel and preparing the way we thought they would for the different type of run game, because last week was a clear power up the gut game. A lot of this stuff was zone stretch, and they didn't have the athletic front that we expected them to have going into this game. Dave, if you didn't notice that right off the bat, sorry to jump in.
Well, the second position I wanted to address, I know we just got a draft pick off of this position this year, but he is already banged up, and hopefully he comes back soon. But Mercedes Lewis, Jimmy Graham, they're up there in age. Jimmy's coming on the last year of his deal next year, and I don't know if Gutekunst moves him. I don't know if he lets him go. If he doesn't have the season he thinks he's going to have, I would love a top tight end target that can block, receive in this. I know Sternberger's there, but I'd love another one because we have Tanyan and Sternberger, but it's just I'd like some more depth there.
Yeah, they won't draft a tight end high after.
Not a first round, but like third, fourth.
Yeah, if there's someone there that makes sense, I could see it, but it won't be high on the priority list. I don't think. But I hear you. Hey, there's all kinds of weapons. We just want more weapons. In essence,
enough about the draft,
right?
too.
Yeah.
Hey, 2-0.
Yeah, we saw an offense what it could be today, and I think we got so excited, and we were just, throwing at them at will and running down their throats at will and putting points on the board, ending in touchdowns, not settling for field goals. It was exciting times in that first quarter because I couldn't believe it, and then it just kind of screeched to a halt. And that's when I think we get frustrated is. I want to enjoy the win. Don't get me wrong. This was a great win. Again, the first week, awesome win on the road. This week, another huge, hated division rival at home opener. Don't want to spoil it for the whole, Bart Starr memorial that we were doing, kind of like we did when we did the Brett Favre number, retirement. against the Bears. So we won the game, and it was pretty, and then it was ugly, but we won it. We're 2-0, and I think what we are just kind of doing is we're looking at how can we make this team even better, right? We love and I enjoy that every single victory, because they're hard to come by in this day and age in the NFL. But it's like